James Sullivan had once been a man of vision, an architect who shaped skylines and designed homes that touched the clouds. In his prime, his name echoed in boardrooms and on the front pages of design magazines. But everything changed on a cold winter evening. A car accident claimed the life of his wife Emily and left James with a fractured leg and a shattered soul. The limp stayed. So did the grief. He withdrew from everything: his career, his friend, his passions. He moved to a quiet neighborhood, into a house that no longer felt like a home. Time didn't heal. It only numbed. It was raining again, the kind that drummed endlessly on windows and echoed in empty hallways. James sat alone, staring into the distance, lost in thought, until he heard it, a faint whimper. At first, he dismissed it. But then it came again. Softer, sadder. He limped to the door and stepped into the cold drizzle. At the edge of his garden, under a street lamp, sat a shivering dog, thin, soaked to the bone, his head lowered, but eyes still hopeful. James' breath caught. Without a word, he opened the gate. The dog didn't move, just looked up and wagged his tail once. James brought him inside, dried him gently, and placed a blanket by the fire. The dog didn't bark. He just curled up and closed his eyes. James didn't mean to keep him. But the next morning, the dog was still there, sitting patiently at the door like he belonged. James named him Max, and Max became his silent companion, walking beside him during slow morning strolls, nudging his hand during meals, resting his head on James' feet in the evenings. For the first time in months, James laughed when Max chased a leaf like it was the most exciting thing in the world. That laugh felt strange, but it felt alive. One afternoon, while Max napped near his feet, James found himself flipping through his old sketchbooks. His hands shook as he touched the blank page. He drew Max, and something inside him stirred. Sketching turned into designing, and designing turned into dreaming again. James began drawing plans for a space he once envisioned with Emily, a home for abandoned dogs and lonely seniors, a place where broken hearts could heal together. He called the project Hope Heaven. Max became the face of it. His sketches were used in the brochures. His photo hung in the entrance. James started going out, meeting people, giving talks. And every time he stood before an audience, Max was there at his side, tail wagging, eyes calm, as if he always knew this was his mission. One morning, Max collapsed in the backyard. James rushed him to the vet, his cane forgotten, heart pounding. The vet's voice was gentle but heavy. Max has a heart condition. Doctor said, Max have a few months. James was shattered and he stayed awake that night beside Max, hand resting on his fur. He whispered the stories Emily once told him. He promised Max that every day would be filled with walks, belly rubs, and warm fires. Max stabilized. For months, they lived like never before, visiting shelters, walking through parks, watching sunsets. Hope Heaven opened its doors. The first resident was a war veteran named George, who hadn't spoken in years, until Max lay beside him and he whispered, "Good dog." Word spread. Hope Heaven became a movement. But time, as always, moved forward. Month passed, and now Max looked more weaker. His walks became slower, his naps longer, and his once bright eyes a little cloudier. But the love? That never faded. One winter morning, James found Max curled peacefully by the fireplace, his favorite spot. The rising sun bathed him in golden light, and he looked just like the day he first came home, soaking wet, eyes full of hope. Except this time, Max didn't wake up. James knelt beside him, tears falling onto the floorboards, whispering the only words he could say, "Thank you for finding me." Max was buried under the old oak tree behind the house, where birds sang and the wind always felt warm. A simple wooden sign read, "Max, the dog who built homes and healed a heart." James continued his work. Every new shelter he built, every life he touched, carried a little piece of Max. Because some souls don't leave us when they die. They stay, carved into who we become. They say humans rescue dogs. But Max rescued me. He walked into my grief without asking for anything, and gave me the one thing I had lost, myself. Moral of the story: love doesn't always come loudly. Sometimes, it comes in muddy paws, gentle eyes, and quiet presence. And when we choose to care for someone else, even when we feel broken, we often find ourselves healing, one small heartbeat at a time. James thought he was saving a dog that stormy night, but in truth, Max was the one saving him. In the quiet companionship, in the shared routines, and in the silent healing, they rebuilt each other, one moment at a time. Sometimes, hope doesn't roar. It whispers, and has whiskers. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this. Please share it with someone who could use a little hope today. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below and tell us your story. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care and keep believing in second chances.